You are listening to Within Tolerance, a podcast for machinists by a machinist. I'm your host, Dylan Jackson of Proteum Machining, and this week, back with me as always, Chris Zapatini. What is going on, man?
Hey, I'm living the dream. I'm at home. You noticed. I guess people, well, if you're not watching, you wouldn't notice. I'm in my living room in Boston or whatever, Massachusetts.
You're home. I thought you were in Idaho.
No,
But I guess you have your podcast set up there, so that makes sense.
right? Yeah. Well, my podcast setup here is upstairs in my bedroom. Well, what was my bedroom, but I moved out of here, So
Right.
Richard's in my bedroom right now. So I'm in the living room. That's where the bookshelf and stuff and the window. This is that's my backyard over there and whatever else. And yeah, I mean, this works. I mean, this is sweet. This is actually very cool because it's newly renovated. Richard's been going fucking hog ass wild, painting the walls, and he's been working on the floor. It looks fucking good.
You've been sending me pictures. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's wow. From this place looked like shit, and this room was basically unused for 2 or 3 years, more or less, and now we're starting to get it back up and going, which is nice.
Sick.
I just got back from Cleveland, an hour ago, maybe, which is a 10-ish hour drive,
I appreciate you wanting to sit down at all with me there.
Yeah. That's why I was if you wanted to move it, we could have moved it. That'd have been fine. But also, it's I'm ready to go. This is good.
I had no idea you've been driving all day. I would definitely have rescheduled just for your sake. So
I was the interesting thing, if we were to do it tomorrow night, it probably would have been Vancast number 1.
Oh,
yeah. So that is that's a sneak peek for an episode coming up. Is I think we're at a point now where I can do a podcast from the van.
I will be very interested to see how Starlink holds up.
I agree. It's either going to be awesome or a fucking disaster and unusable for video.
Yeah, it'll be either normal footage or it will be a 20-minute video of technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's well, we almost had it, guys.
Right. And speaking of video, I would be remiss. So we mentioned your 80s porn glasses last time, so we both had to bust them out because I have the same ones in prescription.
Yeah,
I don't know something recently that has caused that much commenting.
Right, it's pretty funny.
It's wild. I think probably 6 or 8 people either commented on the YouTube video or DM me or. Yeah, I was they're just, for you, they're McMaster Safeties, or I guess Amazon. You sent me a link.
Amazon, $10. I thought they were 15 or $12, but they're $10, and basically anywhere you can get them almost same day or next day, early morning or something. And these are the best safety glasses I've ever had. I've bought so many pairs of them, just to stash around.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the questions we got. So
from Trip Lennon, my boy.
Yeah. So Trip, these are actually super comfortable.
Yeah.
And because they're aviator style, they're not in your field of view, which is really nice.
Yeah, they're not in your field of view. They don't fog up at all, which he works in, I know Trip personally, he works in Boston in one of the OG GE buildings, So there's nothing in there for AC or anything, so it's hot and it's gross.
Oh, yes.
So this is these are great for that environment. I use these things everywhere. They're awesome, and they're light and whatever. They got the side shields on them, and yeah, you look like a fucking cool guy when you wear them.
Exactly. Well, give us the update, man.
Yeah.
Last time we recorded, you were here.
Yes. Yep. And then I think I went to Maryland right after that.
Sounds right.
Yeah, so I went to Maryland right after that. And I think that was before I wrapped it. No, that must have been the last 2 weeks that I did a little stint in Boise. And then I think I went to North Idaho and did a little stint in Maryland, and then got back from Maryland. Yeah, that was the stint in Boise for a little bit, and then I went to California recently, like last week, for a few days. Really started like the waveguide thing. Like their customers slowed down on them again, so like we've been like slow rolling the new process still for all the other part numbers. Like, and we've had like really, I was telling you about this. We have like really weird issues where like the toolpaths are the exact same. The parts are almost identical. Like everything is almost exactly the same, but the part just doesn't come out the same. And it's like, if you looked at them side by side, you'd think that the geometry was identical kind of shit. And it's like, so a little weird, but we've got 12 of 14 part numbers bought off. They're super stoked because we went from like 15 hours to like 10 hours. For 6 parts, which is huge, and that's like consistent. And then we got the tool life 1.5 times, so 50%, 150% of what the previous tool life was.
Wow!
So we're way faster, and we're getting better tool life. So like that's incredible. You know what I mean? Like that's so they like. And I was like, man, we're taking forever on this thing because we've been working on it for like a long time and like slow rolling it, you know, which it just feels annoying. But they're like, no, this is great. Like, what, you want to work on more stuff for us? I was like, yeah, sure. Once we finish this, we got to get through these last, like, just knock this out first, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So that's awesome. That's good. And this also gives me an opportunity to transition over to the new billing cycle. That, I think of all things, that's been the biggest thing over, I mean, outside of the travel's been whatever. I mean, it's just been mostly the same old shit, you know, same type of customers and everything. But the biggest thing that's happened in the last, since like, it's kind of funny because I was listening to the episode, and on the drive down, I was talking to Justin about the Asana API. And in the episode, we talked about the Asana API and like writing a script to like get what I wanted, like pretty much automated. And we figured it out. I mean, I say we figured it out. I watched Justin do it, you know, on a Sunday. And like he was doing it. And then I was like, we would run the script, and then it'd be like, yes or no, did we do it? And then, and we essentially, and over the course of like 3 hours, 4 hours or something like that, he helped me get our like multi-tenant architecture thing set up, which is each customer has its own team. So like the Servin brothers, for instance, they have a team. The guys in California, they have a team, and but everything inside of it is exactly the same. And like, it's interesting talking about this. I just talked about this with Justin last night, but like the way we did it before, and I think what was really difficult about how we did it before is like, it's like we had teams for like programming and teams for like turnkeys and yada yada. And like, because of how we did projects, contract programming was built this way and turnkeys will build that way. But we made the billing very uniform. So like, whether it's a turnkey or contract programming or whatever, it's all the same. We just do it in chunks of hours, right? And that's awesome. Like, so far we've had like very little pushback to that, which mostly means we need to increase our prices.
Well, the pushback you've had, from what you've said, have just been people not reading.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
it's just like, well, I don't want to do it that way, and it's like, well, that's what you signed, though.
Right. It's like, that's what we agreed to. Yeah, the one example of that is we just got a turnkey in kind of the Bay Area. It's like, I would consider it like Morgan Hill or whatever. Like, it's like outside of San Jose. And I sent them the document. They were like, cool. I was like, this looks like about 150 hours, you know, so that's going to be this much money. And they're like, cool, let's do it. We send them the invoice, and they're like, you sent us the invoice for the whole thing. And it's like, yes, that's how we do it. And they're like, well, you know, you're a new vendor for us, and so we'd really like to pay half instead and do like more milestone billing. And it's like, and I was like, no, we don't do it that way. Like, there's like a lot of opportunity for like weird scope creep and like failure there. So no, but it's like what we can do is like we'll cut the hours in half, like, and we can do 2 75-hour chunks, but that like drops you down a tier, so it's going to be more expensive, like $10 more per hour if we do it like that. And they didn't really respond to that. They're like, oh, we'll talk about it in the meeting. And so we talked about it in the meeting, and they're like, they just brought up the exact same thing, and I was like, this is how we do things. And so your options are like you pay the 150 hours like to get that price, or we cut it in half and you pay more. That's it. And they paid more. They decided to pay more. I was like, cool. Good job.
Yeah.
Because it's like we're not doing shit, and like it says it in there. It's like we're not doing a goddamn thing until we're funded. And then they did the most infuriating fucking thing, which is they used Bank of America Online to send us a physical check to the old X2 shop. And I was like, you dumb fucks, why did you do this? I'm like, you need to void that check. And
I
like,
was so frustrated.
Dude, it was, I mean, they figured it out. But when I was like, hey, you guys need to void that check, and they're like, we can't void the check. And it's like, well, we don't have access to that building, and that check's probably going in the garbage. Oh, we can void the check. No problem.
Huh?
Yeah, it's like, oh, interesting. Yeah, it's like, and then they just wired it over. So that was fine. They were very like that company. I'm excited to do that project because they have like a lot of like they have good customers. Like their clients are like good. And they have good machines, and their craftsmanship is just kind of trash right now. It's really bizarre. Like they do okay work, but like it's slow. And like one of the parts when we went and visited, I was like, why does this fucking part look like this, dude? And they're like, well, it's a good thing you're quality focused. And it's like, cool. I guess like, it's like, oh, we're going to do like, this is going to be good for both of us. I can see that right now. Like we're gonna blow their fucking minds. I'm positive of that.
That's frustrating.
But anyway, so we got that. Like we locked in the billing. Which, I guess the last little bit of that I can talk about this week a little bit, which is like I went to Servans on Monday. We had initially planned for 2 days, but we knocked basically everything out in like 6 hours, which was sick. So it let me bring the second guys up a day early, from like Wednesday to Tuesday. But when I got there, we had like already done all the hard shit, like kind of remotely, and we were just like doing a site visit to like help if they had questions. And they're like, no, the stuff you did for us before was awesome. We were unable to run overnight, and now that we've added this code to our transfer, like we've been able to get like 16 hours, no problem, uninterrupted. Like we've ran like 8,000 parts through this thing without a failure, which is incredible. And then I convinced them to move away from. This is going to sound wild, but it's like I convinced them to move away from Camplete for the lathe to the Mastercam Mill-Turn module, which is way, way better. It's actually like, I will say from a full machine sim aspect, like I can't speak to any other models from Mastercam, but like the post for Mastercam and Mill-Turn like is, for the Nakamura is like perfect. It's so dialed. Like it's very, very dialed. I like it a lot.
Dump into Vericut then, or is that
no? It's their own. It's their own machine sim.
Wow.
So like it like opens up like the Mill-Turn module. It's very expensive. Don't get me wrong. Like the module itself, like to add it on is like $8,000 or something like that. Which like when you compare to Camplete, which is like $5,000, like it's not that much, especially because Camplete that's $5,000 a year. You know. Right. So I think that's an instance where like the Autodesk feature doesn't pencil out, like money wise, like, which is kind of, and like the Camplete for mills is like no brainer. I would pay that all day, every day without question. You know what I mean? Like it's incredible. The the Mill-Turn module for Mastercam, if you're doing multi-turret, multi-spindle stuff, is also like the B-axis stuff. It's so super dialed. It does the transfer. It does all the shit you want the transfer to do. It's like, and it opens up like another, like, I think they bought somebody because it opens up like a separate software that's like linked. This is the other thing that's nice, is like it's linked to Mastercam. It's almost like, it's about as close as somebody else has gotten to virtual machine with Hypermill, but for lathe specifically, which is super powerful. Cool. It's very powerful. And so I convinced them to do that, and they're like, they got an eval from Mastercam, and the dude was like, this is incredible. He's like, the code, he's like, I don't have to fuck with the code at all. I just put it in and it runs. And so like that ended up being like, so I had planned for 2 days for them too, hour and a half, you know?
Wow.
And because of like, it's prepaid hours, and like, they're like, they just don't want to burn hours to have me fucking hang out. So they're like, all right, bye. You know, it's like, cool. And because I was basically 2 hours from Justin, I was like, hey, I'm coming over. And that's so, killer. Yeah, I got to go hang out with Justin and the fam for like a day. We recorded a podcast last night for Chips and Tips, which was really cool. And yeah, it was like, so I get to go back to California tomorrow to get the van out of SFO, and then it's like, this is how this should be working, you know? Like, this is how this is always should have worked. And it's like, it just took a lot of years of fucking it up to like figure it out the right way. And like, now we're here. And like, I talked to Michael Morton, who's like, he's like, I technically contract with his own, like his company or whatever, but like, he's helping me with like operations and project management and bookkeeping and whatever.
Right.
And like, we're so stoked because it's nice to see the system working. It just like is working as intended. And it's like, it almost feels too good to be true. It's like, when is the fucking other shoe going to drop? You know, like, it's like, maybe it won't. I mean, it probably will eventually, but it's like, but in like not a bad way necessarily. It's just like, oh, this is something weird. But it's like, we're super busy. The pipeline is kind of like constantly full. We can quote really quickly because everybody's getting the same shit. I don't have to think about it. It's like, you know, like, here, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. 100 hours, 200 hours, whatever, you know? And so like that has been like so good. And that coupled with the Asana stuff of being able to like fire up like a new team that has the same projects in it for every single customer, which we might not use for every single customer, but like for the turnkey customer, we basically just use like the programming, and then we have like some things for like on-site visits and whatever.
Right.
And then every single task that we create for every single customer and every single project we created a rule that dumps that into what we call our everything project, which is, it's everything. So we can, during our morning meeting, which is like 15, 30 minutes or whatever, depending on how busy we are, we just have a calendar that shows every single task from every project we're working on, you know? And like, that was the key. That's been really key for us to like keep track of everything. And so as a result, we've been able to like really stay on top of the work we're doing and be able to like move things around a lot as needed without really losing sight of anything. And it's all still a work in progress. I don't think we've like fully figured it out. Like Michael Morton and I were talking today. It's like, we probably need to like have the start date and the end date. So instead of just the end date, especially for things that are far out, so we don't stumble on them as they're due and we haven't done anything, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which is like, it's just as you iterate on a process. But I think we've found like we have the bones and like a really good structure that's like very scalable. And I'm pretty stoked about that.
That's amazing.
That's been the biggest shit that we've been working on. Which has also been like over the last, like basically since we since we last recorded, like I've taken like kind of like a technical step back, like technically speaking, and like been more focused on the business, which has been incredible. Like with that, which is like totally not doable without Doug, or Michael, really. And it's like, I'm just like running around to customers. It's not like I'm not doing anything. Like I'm sitting in a room doing nothing. I'm just basically doing all the on-site work, which doesn't really necessarily require me to be like, this is probably sounds wild, but it's like, that doesn't necessarily need me to be super duper technical. Like if I'm assisting customers or like working on a machine, yada, yada. It's like I'm fucking deep programming. And most of my computer time is spent on like system building. And now I'm starting to like turn the technical things back on. And that's been really good.
That's amazing, man. I'm so stoked for you. It has, like you said, it's been a while since I think you've been as excited as you are about your business.
And it's stayed consistently good. And like, it's like, there was like I saw like even because we have like, because we've like been working on the system and we know what we're capable of and whatever, like the most down I was on the whole thing was like those couple days where it seemed like all of our customers couldn't fucking read all at the same time. And it was like, oh my God, this just isn't going to work. Like, what the fuck? But that has led us to like, we're actively working on rebuilding the website right now. Well, like we're upworking it, but, with like the explicit goal of like, I want it to just visually represent how the process works,
Right.
And like, and lay it out like with pictures, literally with pictures, that it's prepaid and all this other bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like one of the things I asked them to do, because I'm not a designer, is I want something that looks like a bucket that says like prepaid hours in it, dumping out into like 3 streams of like, this covers travel and this covers like engineering services and this covers material, like shit like that. It's like, we do these things and it costs this much and this is what you get out of it.
That's
and like
more professional than what my first thought was. So
yeah. What do you mean?
Like first, when you were like making it pictures, all I could see was like a cartoon of a customer like putting money in a piggy bank and then shaking the piggy bank into their phone every time they call you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think yours is a little better. So
yeah, it's worth the money. That's for sure. And then that like essentially, and also gives people like a way to like just kind of like request the hours through the website, and just streamlining that whole thing, where it's like essentially moving away from like here's an emailed proposal, where it's just like you can just request it and we'll send an invoice and that's it. Maybe eventually into like a web store, but that's kind of, that can be like a slippery slope depending on how like if we got everything we're working on right now, we would have a really good problem,
right,
of like, oh, there's way more hours than
you'd be like, I have 200 hours of work in the next 40 hours.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think that more or less brings us to right now.
Sweet.
Where I'm at. And you've been working on some stuff.
Yeah, we've had a lot of shop projects going on, some machine repair, all kinds of stuff. So one thing that I've been working on since, last time we spoke and I had flooded the shop, I've been working on a coolant dispenser. Brad at Revolut Machine had reached out with this relatively cheap, I think it was like $80, water dispenser. So it's a controller that you can tell it like, I want 5 gallons, hit start, and it will open a solenoid and then has a flow meter that will meter out 5 gallons and then shut the solenoid off.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yeah. So I designed that and built that all into like the little 3D printed backpack on our Dosatron, on our coolant cart. And I'm still going through and designing stuff because then it was so funny. Easton was parallel developing the same thing. I went and bought like a cheap 12-volt battery that was rechargeable from Amazon. And he was like, oh, I'm just using a Milwaukee battery pack adapter. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. So I bought one for our DeWalt batteries. And then I posted about that. And then somebody was like, oh, you're going to kill those and can make them completely flat if you don't have some kind of low power shut off. Because like all of the low power handling is done by the tool, not the battery.
Yeah, interesting.
So when you're only using 2 wires from it instead of the 5, you get no protection. And so I bought a low voltage thing, and then John Fettig was like, those still draw power, by the way, so you're still going to kill the battery because it has a little screen on it. And so I put a switch into the system now, and I finally have everything like crimped together roughly, and now I've got to design a little 3D printed enclosure for it and start testing it. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. Once that's done, I think it's good enough to shoot like a little Instagram reel and maybe a shorter video on it because I'm excited. I'm really excited for it. Like it's going to be great, and mean that what I'm going to end up doing is just going, because you can run it in like unrestricted mode where it's not, it just opens the solenoid and lets out however much until you hit close.
Okay.
And so I'm just going to do that at each machine and say like, just let it count and say, okay, it takes 15 gallons to go from line to line, and then put like a sticker next to the sight glass on the Speedios. It's just like 15 gallons line to line. That way you can just pop back there and be like, okay, I'm 2 lines down. It's 30 gallons, and just type that in and go.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I finally got our ballbar working.
Right.
Got all the programs loaded, tested both Speedios. I didn't do the Hermla because they had just been out for their 3,000 hour maintenance kind of PM, and they had done a ballbar and a fingerprint and all that stuff. But both brothers were showing squareness issues in Y.
All right.
So the Y linear guides were going bad. So we had them out and replaced those, and now they're both much better. Like the F, I mean, it's circularity, which is the thing that Renishaw says to use to compare machines, is at like, I think 8 microns on a 100 millimeter radius circle.
Hell yeah.
And squareness is like 6 or 8 microns, and it went from, I think it was at 80 or 90 microns squareness. So it fixed it right up, and it's a killer. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, we have been trying out this parts cleaner that I'm starting to really love. It's from Walter Technologies. It's called BioCircle, I believe.
Okay.
And it is a bio-renewing solvent. So it's like, if you look at its SDS, it's like totally safe for humans. You can put your hands under it. You're not going to get like any kind of burns long term. Totally human safe. There's bacteria in it that break down oils. So coolant, it basically eats. And the friend who referred this to me, thanks Austin, he said he's had the fluid in his for, I think, almost 2 years and hasn't had to replace it.
Okay.
It smells kind of like apple cider almost, like sweet apple cider.
Yeah. Mormon champagne. Let's go.
Yeah. The smell was very strong in the beginning, to the point where I was like, oh, like 3 days in, I was like, we might have to dump all this out and throw this thing away. Like we might have just wasted like whatever it was, $1,500.
Yeah.
And then I designed and had Suncut Send make a lid for it, because it just looks like a normal parts washer,
right?
Like one you see in an automotive place where it has, you can turn a knob and it either goes to the brush that distributes stuff through the center of the brush, or it has like the lock line nozzle that you can use.
Yeah.
So I just made a quick stainless cover that has like little cutouts for either the hose or the lock line, and plops right on top of it. And it was funny because the Yamazin guys, while they were here installing the linear guides, were looking for something to clean some of the parts. I was like, oh, you can go use that. And then later on, we were talking about Suncut Send, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the lid you took off over there was from them." And they're like, "Oh, I thought that was factory. Like that fits perfectly." I'm like, "Yeah,
nice.
You know, it was lasered out and like bent perfectly, and they make it very easy to make a finished looking product."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's go for it.
I was gonna say, speaking of Suncut Send, I totally forgot to talk about OpenSauce. We went to OpenSauce.
Yeah.
Give
us the update on that, man.
That was really fucking cool. I got to hang out with, Justin was there. Like, I was there for other reasons. And it just so happened to be that OpenSauce was going on. And like, that shit was expensive. I will say that. It was like $200 for a 2-day ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just such, like, that place was insane. And like Suncut Send sponsored it, randomly ran into Jim Belosic, and we had a nice little chat, like catch up, just like outside by like the rockets, like the rocket stuff. And you're like, oh, so this is just like such wild shit that like was going on in there. Like BattleBots was in there. There was this really cool like electric truck prototype that was like basically like a modern revamp of like a modern rendition of like a Kai truck, like the Honda K.
Oh,
Kai.
It's the Slate?
The Tello. I think it's Tello.
Okay.
And they had 2 of them there, and like thing was gorgeous, and you could put like a full, like the way that it was one of those deals where like you can like fold the, like open up the tailgate and like fold the bed down into the truck, so you could put like a full 4x8 sheet of plywood in there.
Oh, this thing is funky. I just looked it up. It does look like a K truck. Yeah.
Right. It's pretty cool. Like one of those things that you hope it goes to market. And like saw Dave Precise, that was fun. Like his stuff is, the tool tray shit is cool. Like it's really nice. And yeah, just like hung out with Flarg. That was fun. Like I'd never really talked to him before. And just seeing what he had going on was like just like out of control, and like his shit was just like nutty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if you know Ethan. You've talked to Ethan Perrin, and we went to his shop.
Bought a fair bit of CMM stuff because he
has
owned more of those Brown and Sharp Gauge 2000s than anybody I know.
Yeah. He's a cool guy, and like his shop is like a collective of like these like super nerds in like the best way possible. Like they're just like they're all like MIT grads or whatever, just like going so hard. And he has an FSAE car in his shop that he got it like for free because they were like, hey, we're gonna toss this out. Like MIT was gonna toss it out, and so they're like, do you want it? And he's like, yeah. So he just got it, and then we got it, or like they got it running, and then like that was Saturday night. Is like we all just fucking drove that thing around the parking lot.
Yeah, that thing looks so terrifyingly cool.
It was very terrifying, very fun. I was like, I see why these fucking nerds do this shit, because this is like so rad. Like,
yeah,
especially it being electric is like it's gonna be fast, but when you just like see it, like you're like you can't go over speed bumps like and stuff, and so like it's so close to the ground, and like I mean I'm not like a big guy, I'm not a small guy, but it's like the steering wheel is like in my dick, and you're just like like trying to steer that way is wild. And then somebody had the Meta glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Like this really I bought them. I get them tomorrow. I'm super stoked. Yeah, but like took I don't know if you saw the POV.
Yeah.
And like that was it. I was like, oh, done getting them.
I saw either yours or Justin's lap, and that was how I knew it. Like it didn't look that fast from the sidelines. I was like, oh, it looks quick or whatever. And then seeing the POV, I was like, ooh, that thing is scary.
Right. Yeah. And that was incredible. Oh, like I will say, from the OpenSauce perspective, next year you gotta go. Like
I got it. I'm going to. Yeah.
Gotta go. I'd say like we should see what it costs to like have a booth, a WT booth there.
Ooh,
that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Throw some money at that. But there was like Oshcut, the Senkasen competitor was there, and they had like this crazy like motion rig going on. They had like a whole section that was like Nerf, like adult Nerf, like machine guns. It was like the nerdiest, coolest shit you've ever seen, just like everywhere. It was like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. So
where was it held this year?
It was San Mateo Event Center. So it was like largely, it was like outdoor indoor event kind of.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, Justin and I did the smart thing, luckily, and like we got up there like 2 hours before it opened and parked, and then just walked around until it opened up. Because like Ethan came later, and he's like, he waited like 30 minutes to park, like in a line to park, to then wait in a line to get his badge to get into the event, which is like, fuck.
Jeez.
Yeah, but very cool.
Get there early. Okay.
Get there early. Highly recommend. It was a lot of fun. Like, there's a lot of just like running and dude, the guy that's going to check out your shop, Henry, you know, he was there, and I saw him post in the Instant Machinist Discord, like for the social meetups. It's like, I saw a guy with head tattoos and Proteum. Zap, is that you? It's like, that's a pretty good man.
Yeah. I feel like that Venn diagram there kind of only leads to one person, as far as that's like. But
it would be wild if it wasn't me. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's somebody I would want to meet if there's another head tattooed wearing merch stuff.
Yeah. It's like, wait, what the hell? How'd you even get this? I don't sell these.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's amazing. Cool. Well, I'm really glad that it was so much fun. I had serious FOMO. Like, you guys just kept sending me videos and stuff. I'm like, I really wish I was there.
I will say it was very good for Justin. That fool's been like crazy stressed. So he was able to kind of like unload and hang out and be like super nerdy.
Right. Yeah. But be among his people for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
So I derailed you.
No worries. Other shop stuff. I finally got that PH horn saw system working.
That was really nice.
That thing is ripping, dude. I mean, it's not fast by any means, but like right now, the parts that are running, at the very end, I tab it off. It's like a 9 millimeter deep cut on each side in one pass, 750 RPM and like 4.5 or 5 inches a minute. It just dead quiet, and it's done. I don't know, 40 or 50 parts.
Right.
Still sounds exactly the same.
And the finish is gorgeous. Like, so good.
Yeah. I need to throw a profilometer on it, actually, because it's that good. It is really top tier for a saw.
Fuck yeah.
Getting speeds and feeds was so painful. Terrible.
It was really weird. Like the email that you showed us, it was like, what the fuck is this guy even? I like how at the end he's like, I hope this makes sense. It's like, this makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, he sent me that because at first he sent me, you can just get speed information from this document and feed information from one of these documents, or use our calculator. And I just wrote back and I was like, I have tried both of those, and they're all missing information for my exact cutter, and none of them make sense.
Right.
And he was like, oh, well, try this, and this. And like what he wrote back just, made no sense at all.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I can piece together what you're saying here, but like, how hard? Like, I just asked I was like, hey, these are the 3 materials I want to use it in. Please give me speeds and feeds.
Yeah.
And that was apparently not a straightforward enough question.
Yeah. It is. It really makes you appreciate like Tool Expert, you know, as like clunky as that tool can be. It does give you like, there is a path forward to like very like fairly easily get to speeds and feeds for a given tool for a given material, which like is very nice. Very like, you're like, oh, thank God. That's like realistic, not like Harvey will give you speeds and feeds, but it's also telling you to like take like a 10XD tool and like spin it at like 1500 surface foot in aluminum, no matter like what it is, you know?
Yeah, dude, I hate it because I feel like I'm just becoming an old man. But like the more these web apps become popular and are terrible, the more I just long for like the PDFs you can download from Harvey, where it's just like, here's the material, here's the surface footage, here's the chip load by diameter. Right. And then here's like a rough guide for radial step over and axial step down. And it's like, guys, like, is this so hard to just give me something that is this straightforward? Like, I'm sure I love these calculators sometimes, but at the end of the day, sometimes I just need a good starting place.
Dude, it's like, I think it's like Sandvik or Kennametal or one of them where it's like, oh, you want speeds and feeds? Log in. And it's like, I'm just going to wing it. Fuck it. Like, why do I need to make an account to like figure out how to use your tool?
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
One of those tools, I can't remember which one, it drives me nuts because when you're building everything out, it defaults to a like 286 horsepower universal machine.
That's Sandvik.
Is that Sandvik?
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, in what world do you think that this is the default?
Mm-hmm. Like Sandvik one sucks. Like you're like building the tool and like you build it and it's like, oh, no, I can't, like there's no speeds and feeds for that. And it's like, what do you mean there's nothing for that? Like, it's like, guys, I just need something, please.
I had that happen with I have like an older, I think it's a 1032 multi-pitch thread mill from Niagara, and they got bought up by Seiko, I think.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened there. Like I plugged in the EDP number into Seiko's speeds and feeds thing, and it was like, no data found. You might be able to use data from this similar part number. And it was like not even close, like not even a very similar tool at all. I was like, all right, guys, been doing this a while. I guess I'll just like spitball. We'll see what happens.
All right.
And like it worked out, but it was like, how hard is it to just give me the old document that definitely existed when Niagara had a website?
Right. Just give me something.
Yeah. But besides that, we've just been cranking away, kind of still in a holding pattern, waiting for the tariff shoe to drop. Like, it's like, oh, am I going to be able to buy another Hermla, or is it going to be an additional $200,000 on top of the purchase price?
Yeah.
Because I'm just not buying it then. I don't know what I'm going to do then.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating.
UMC.
Yeah, no. Definitely not. But again, I don't even know what the solution is there. Like it's so incredibly frustrating that the uncertainty is real. And like, as of today, the news says that they're very, very close because like the Japan-US deal got signed last night for 15%.
Yeah.
So they're thinking it's going to be 15%, but who knows?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like,
I love getting taxed on things.
You mean you love winning is what you love. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love taxes so much. It's definitely not like we threw a bunch of tea in a harbor for taxes.
Yeah. 2% tax. 2%.
Oh, man. All right. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps it up, though. We've just been cranking away, like I said, a bunch of little shop projects, but nothing major besides the ones I listed.
Oh, yeah.
And, fingers crossed.
Baby update? Baby wife update?
Oh, yeah. That was one of the questions. Demi asked, how's everything with you, your wife, and child, especially now that you've been back in the shop for a while again? It has been good for the most part. I think that it's just tough. Like, we're all struggling from lack of sleep. Molly has been, she's starting to like enter another phase of growth and mental growth. And then so it just isn't sleeping very well. And I think that it kind of weighs on Katie being home all day. Like, I don't think that either of us really recognized just the monotony of it. Like, she loves Molly. We both love Molly, but 10 hours of a baby crying in your face can really wear on anybody. So, but it's amazing. Like, she's so cute, and I love coming home to her every day, and we both love her so much. So it's going well.
And you're about to, I guess you're like 6 or 8 weeks away from like next challenge of Katie going back to work.
Yeah. Sometime in September. I'm still not I don't think either of us are actually sure. We need to find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometime in September. So then we got to deal with childcare and all of that. It's, there is a new challenge every day. And so far it's been well worth it. And not that I think that it won't be at any point, but it's just, it's been tough. Yeah, we do love it. His other question was, given your track record of lowballing eBay listings, what child-related things did you lowball on? So far, nothing. We were incredibly lucky that my sister-in-law loves to thrift stuff. And then we've also had a bunch of family friends give us a ton of, old toys and all kinds of stuff. So far, it's just been a lot of diapers and wipes and disposable things, or like, consumables.
Nice.
Yeah. But overall, very, very good.
Yeah. Cool. We love that.
I could use a little more sleep, but besides that, all good. Yeah.
We all can. Yeah. We all can.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, I guess we should just jump into questions, man. We had a ton. Probably more Patreon questions than we've ever had, and then a bunch of Instagram questions that I had to kind of pare down to a few. So Tux Garage asked, favorite hand tool and least favorite hand tool.
Least favorite hand tool. I'm gonna start with least favorite is like helicoil installation tools suck.
Ugh.
Like even the best ones, they just fucking blow, and I'm not a big fan of them. Favorite hand tool. I'm picturing something in my mind, and I'm just like I'm like blanking on it,
Mm-hmm.
But I think probably like a little multi-tool or something. I'm trying to I don't know. Honestly, like a 6 foot Milwaukee tape measure.
Is not 6 feet.
But oh, come on, man. Yeah. Dang. I was talking about the form factor.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. 6 foot,
Yeah,
it's huge. It's kind of
6 foot.
Yeah. Yeah. But like it's kind of crazy how far like a 6 foot tape measure will go on like day to day in a shop. You know what I mean? For just from like centering things up or like just rough measurements of bullshit or whatever. It's like light, it's easy. Like I always find it fascinating, like how like very simple tools, like the amount of shops I go into that don't have like, how often I'm like, where the fuck is a tape measure? Like I just need to like figure something out really quickly, and how hard it is to find a fucking tape measure in some of these shops. It's like, so like, I had one, I left it somewhere, which is very annoying, but, having just like a 6 foot little baby, like keychain tape measure is like super valuable. That, yeah, I think that's like one of my go-tos,
Yeah, that's great. Favorite handle, I kind of I'm hard pressed to pick just one.
Right.
I love a really good tri-blade deburring knife, like a fresh, sharp carbide one.
Dude,
in like the tiny handles. Like that I will say, like, this kind of goes into my least favorite. I hate all of the big plastic handles that all of the deburring knives come on. So like the swivel one, I always pull out the black internal handle to all the no-go ones that's like a 1/4 inch in diameter, or 3/16, and like just use that. I throw away the plastic handles because I hate those. I don't get any feel from them.
Right.
Same with the tri-blade handles. Like I buy the metal steel, steel tube or whatever. It's not even tube. It's like solid steel little handles that they make for them. I love those. I love the Noga backside deburring tools. Ones where you click the ends and it like turns the insert sideways and you can pop it through a hole and then release it and it turns the insert around and you can deburr the backside of a hole. Those are nice. amazing. I wish that they made them in about 2 or 3 more sizes, because like I very often make holes that are right on the limit of both inserts.
Yeah.
So those are both amazing and frustrating. Another least favorite hand tool, and like again, shout out to like Carve Smart or Lang Soft Jaws or whatever. I hate cap screws in soft jaws, and if I can never have to change another half 13 based jaw system ever again, and like use even a ratchet for them, it sucks so bad, and it's such a pet peeve of mine when I have to use vices that don't have Carve Smart or some kind of quick change jaw system.
Right.
Absolutely drives me nuts.
Yeah. That's a good one. I mean, socket-headed cap screws in general like kind of suck. Like it's, I mean, necessary evil, but like, man, they strip so easily. They fuck up Allen wrenches. It's like, God, just use like a Torx or something. It's so much better.
Yeah. Another one that I really love, and this is kind of getting away from hand tools. It's like a hand battery powered tool, but we have a 1/4-inch drive impact gun at every machine to like open the vices as far as they go, to close them very quickly. Because nothing sucks more, I think everybody knows, than just like sitting there with a ratchet, like slowly opening a vice from like 3 inches to 12 inches.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, just fucking end it now.
Yeah, and we've got these DeWalt, it's like DB888 or something like that. I think that's the wrong number, but they have 3 levels of torque, so you can use level 1. Even when I'm not using it for the vices, like it will automatically detect when it's hit something. So like when you're backing something out, it will detect when it comes out and then stop, so that you don't fly away with the bolt. And then going in, it has like very precise torque measurement and will stop when something is like finger tight, more or less. So it's really nice.
That is really nice. That's awesome. That is awesome.
I think that's probably good enough for now.
I think so.
I got a lot of hand tools though. I love, little deburring stuff.
Depends on what the day,
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? All right. Matt asked, I want to know about tool holders for roughing tools. I've heard that it's bad to use shrink fit for roughing tools as it transfers all vibration to the spindle. I know you guys like RegoFix, but what other good tool holder options are there for roughing tools? I have a 16 millimeter end mill and a BT40 spindle in mind, but generally all tool sizes and spindles.
I mean, honestly, like working with Joel has really changed my mind on this, and Doug too.
And holders is what you're
mill holder. Yep, side lock, big time. Like, because at the end of the day, if you're roughing like appropriately, like air quotes or whatever, you're getting so much deflection that the concentricity doesn't necessarily matter, which is fair. That being said, like, if given it's kind of fucked up too, because they suggest that, but then they don't sell like an AX FPS with a fucking whistle notch on it, which is like, what are you doing to me here?
Right.
But if
suck.
Oh damn.
I will not back down on this. They suck.
Yeah.
I hate end mill holders.
It is, I mean, they're effective. They do the job.
They are very rigid. You can get them very short. I know all of the benefits.
Yeah. It's still
I would choose one though.
I would still say it is my third option, Like if you're on a budget, go for it. I mean, like when I first got the Matsura, I had finishing tools in fucking end mill holders, you know what I mean? Like, and you just like dial your shit in. But like I would go like, obviously powRgrip's my number 1, and then a hydraulic holder's number 2, which like previously was like a big no, like about pullout, but like I'm like fucking doing that. The like shunk, like we've done a lot of roughing in the shunk hydraulic holders, and like I can't really say this for all the other ones, but in the shunk hydraulic holders, they do they don't really pull out that much,
right?
Or like at all. I haven't really seen it. And even like the really skinny slim ones, they do a very good job. Those are also crazy expensive. Hydraulic holders can be more expensive than RegoFix, but if you're not buying into the system, it's kind of fine. And then end mill holders number 3, and then everything else is like, just don't do it. Like, I guess in a pinch with like a very small tool, I guess you could go with like a collet, but you're just gonna fucking pull that fucker out,
right?
Basically, no matter what.
I mean, I would throw shrink up there. I've heard like wives' tales of, it can technically screw up your spindle, but what I've heard is that it just doesn't have any mechanical dampening. Not that it will like screw up your spindle, but
I haven't heard this. Yeah, I haven't heard the spindle thing. And I've used shrink for roughing, and like it's been fine. It's just like it's just ultra rigid, Yeah.
Yeah. The rest of your system has to be pretty dialed as far as work holding and all of that. Otherwise, you will induce some chatter because it is so rigid. But I think shrink is fine if that's like the good intermediary. Like that's what we used before we got powRgrip.
Right.
And then you can use like a bolt buster for a couple $100.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't use a torch like that. I know that a lot of people do that, but for a couple $100, get a bolt buster. You can do up to 3/8 or 1/2-inch tools. I guess if you're using a 16 millimeter end mill, you might need to get a cheap shrink machine.
Right.
It's not NT, it's MST. Makes very inexpensive hot air based ones that are relatively cheap.
Yeah.
So like I think I would put shrink pretty up there. I mean, there's definitely drawbacks to it, but you're not going to damage your spindle, I don't think. I mean, if somebody listening has damaged a spindle and it's been traced back to shrink fit holders, I'd love to hear it because I've never heard that.
Yeah. I would also very much like to hear that. Yeah. So that's my number 4, shrink under end mill holders. I'm just, in general, I'm not a very big fan of shrink just because of there's just more of a to do about it,
Yeah.
But like advantage of it, and like you said, it's the intermediary is, it's cheap. Like without the unit, like the holders are like very cost effective.
Mm-hmm. It's cheap, really good run out, really good pull out protection.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of the benefits of powRgrip, but you have a heated holder, you've got cycles, you damage the tool, or you break off a tool wrong and it's going to damage the entire holder.
Yeah.
There are drawbacks to it too. I mean, it's also a safety risk depending on how many people you work around and how, if they can read, like,
Yeah.
Because I'd always love to say like, oh, we'll just put up a sign or something that says like hot tools, but then you got people who will like walk up and grab a holder as they're looking at the sign and then get all upset. So
that's my biggest thing about like, is like I've watched, even with a good unit, like I've seen a holder be like killed on the unit from just like, it's like it shouldn't ever be that hot, like
it shouldn't be going black. You did something wrong.
Whoopsies. It's like, well, that's toast. So nice.
Let's see. Jared said, maybe I've missed it, but I'd love to hear y'all's opinion on mist collectors. Brand input seems tough to beat a mist away. Seems like most shops don't prioritize them, and I wouldn't run a machine without it. Thanks.
The one that I've been most impressed with recently is the Edge Vortex. I don't know how much it costs. I think it's kind of pricey, but like that fucker moves air, It does a very, very good job. And it's like, it like can go on like a pedestal next to the machine or whatever. And then one that I don't know, like a couple of years ago when we were in your old shop, we were looking at it like the 3.9 or the AN9 or whatever.
Yeah, those look sick.
They're very cool, but they're very hard to get in the US. So like that kind of puts them out. But like my number one, the one that has my heart of hearts, is the Edge Vortex, which just like really, really pulls air out of the machining enclosure.
Yeah, and the thing I'll say, like we have 2 mistaways. We had 3 and sold one. They're all right. I think that a lot of people buy them initially because they seem inexpensive. The MA700 is like, I think $1,700, which is, half of what some of these other ones out there are.
Right.
But what you don't realize and what we've figured out over the years is that you want a bunch of the options. I would say like the HEPA filter is a mandatory option, not a good to have.
Yeah.
Like there's so much mist that gets out the top of those units without it.
Interesting.
You mostly want their on-off control. So either like the one that automatically pulls or senses amperage from your coolant pump, or just the variable speed one so it's between like $150 and $400 there.
Okay.
The stands, unless you want to roll your own, are another. Let's see, I'm on their website. Another $270. You probably want a plenum unless you're going to go straight down. So that's another $350. Let's see, what is the HEPA filter?
So it's like very quickly as much as any other unit on the market.
Oh yeah, I think that the HEPA filter is $150 for the filter itself, and then another $160 for the mounting kit. So yeah, by the time you option it like how I think you would want to like actually use it, you're in it $2,800, $3,000 or something like that. I think that it's just not as nice solution as it seems initially.
Right.
I don't really have any big opinions on mist collectors in terms of brands I like. I will say I've worked in shops with Royal mist collectors and hated them.
Yeah, they're very loud.
They're super loud. They're not super, super effective. Not a fan. Would not buy.
Yeah.
So
they're weird and they can catch on fire pretty easy.
Okay, I'll believe you. I've done that, thankfully. So I don't know. I do think that they are not prioritized like they need to be. Like that was one thing. I wish I could find a way to buy the kind that is on the Hermla, because that one works incredibly well. Like not only does it scrub almost everything out of there, but then it drips all of the coolant back down into the machine. Whereas like the Mistaway is the way that it captures everything. It's not coolant that comes down in the machine. It's concentrate, because it eventually like condenses inside the unit and then comes back down the drain.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Most of the good units, I would say, like the Edge Vortex does the same thing, where it'll get the coolant and then put it back. Yeah. I guess you'd probably need to be on like a German, like really like locked into German industrial supply stuff to figure out what that thing is.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that's for sure, but it works really well.
Nice. Hell yeah.
All right. Also from the Patreon, Off-World Gear, he says, I think we have covered this, but he says, I wouldn't be surprised if this has already been covered, but I'd love to get your opinions on how to prioritize investments in work holding versus tool holding. And I think we talked about this recently.
I think so too.
But I'm happy to refresh it for Matt. If does it make more sense to allocate more money to reduce tolerance stack up with a highly repeatable or accurate work holding system? Or does it make more sense to focus on good tool holding, since you can't really compensate much for problems there?
Yeah. And so like, I would say you can compensate for problems with the tool holding just by like adjusting your cutting parameters. You can kind of work around like weird, like I said, like I was using like a lot of ER collets and fucking end mill holders in the Matsura to make like pretty precise fixtures, and I would like personally, I kind of think that initially like having a good, like the good work holding system is going to do a lot more to reducing your setup time than having like a good tool holding system. And reducing your setup time can like oftentimes lead to, you being able to do more setups in a day or whatever and making more money. And it's like, I mean, you're going to probably spend more money on the work holding than the tooling. in the long run, but I think it's like a heavier investment, like not a one-time hit, but like you're going to blow your load like all at once with that. And then you can kind of start to slow roll the tooling after that and just hit critical tool.
So I realized the last time we spoke about something similar to this was good tool holders versus good tools, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I would agree. I think work holding first, and also I think the consensus we came to last time was that there are ways to improve worse off tool holders that make them good enough. Like good ER collets in shitty Chinese holders are still going to be better than, you know, a lot of things out there.
Yeah. Or like having bad work holding can like really sink your ass, you know? And I would say like the state of work holding is pretty interesting, right? There's a lot of 0 point systems. Like I mean, it's not like quite a race to the bottom. I mean, cause everything's fairly expensive, but like you can get like some good shit. You can spend like, I don't know. I mean, without knowing does he say what kind of, doesn't really say what kind of machine. Yeah. Like you could spend like 10 grand, which is a lot, but you can spend like 10 grand in work holding and be like pretty well set up for a lot of shit, you know?
I mean, you could spend even less than that. Like you could get what, like, let's say, I mean, I know it better. So like, let's say Lang, like if you had a smaller machine, you could get a single base plate, riser, and vise for $4,000 probably.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Less than that from HWR, potentially more than that from Fifth Axis, depending on who you buy it from. But like, yeah, you know, $3,000 to $5,000, I think would get you a very modular high-end setup.
Yep. Yeah. Let's say 5, because then you could buy like just a regular ass vise, put some pull studs in it, you know, like an orange vise or a curved vise or whatever, and then be able to do bigger shit if you're on a VMC, you know, just a 3-axis even, and like and away you go. And then not just like, and then from your like he says, from the cam perspective, like the tolerance stack. Like if you have a probe, like I think he's onto something. Like the tolerance stack doesn't necessarily matter as like with a probe and stuff, but the fact that you can just like plop it down and your work offset's always going to be in the same spot in cam means like you can just kind of like throw programs at your machine and it just works.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing it is, and I've talked about this concept before on here, is that when you buy nicer stuff or just stuff that you know is good, it's one less thing you have to diagnose when things go wrong.
Right.
Like I'm specifically thinking of like vices. If it's a nicer vise, you know it's parallel, you know it's perpendicular. When, you know, a part comes out of the vise and it's one side is 5 thou too low and one side is 5 thou too high, you're not sitting there like, well, is the vise bad? You're like, okay, maybe I cut my soft jaws wrong, or maybe the part pulled out. But if you're buying like shitty Chinese vices or something, you're like, I don't know, is the vise ground incorrectly? Like I'm thinking specifically of like one of AJ's videos recently. He like tightened his vise and it cracked off the back of the vise.
That was pretty fucking wild. Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, that's the kind of stuff like I don't have to worry about that happening with like Lang or Orange or Kurt even. You know, I'm not going to like snap off the back of the vise, and it's not like I'm worried about like, oh, you know, is it cracked maybe? Like it. So I would say that that's the big thing with buying nicer work holding.
Yeah. Also, I guess while we're talking about like the Kurt vise, if you have a Haas and you have the winner circle, the Kurt vise from Haas is like slightly cheaper than from Kurt, and it's free shipping because of the winner circle, which is sick.
Which was on sale for $10 again.
Yeah,
winner circle.
Anybody, it's like, dude, just buy it, because like it inherently. I mean, when it was on sale, it's like I was like, well, I don't know, Somebody was like hemming and hawing about it. Like, I don't know if I should buy it. I don't know if I buy that much Haas stuff. It's like it's $10. Yeah, it gives you automatically 5% off and free overnight shipping on most things. Like, if you like not the curve vise because it's too heavy, but for overnight shipping, but like say you buy the air compressor with the winner circle, it's free freight shipping. Like insane. Like that's an insane deal.
Yeah, you've made money there.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. Justin asked us, first up, should everyone use Meta Ray-Bans to live stream all their machining activities, and calls for help to Instagram?
This is something that I was talking with him and Flarg about when we were hanging out with Ethan. Is I had the idea, like when the Apple Vision Pro came out, which is like too expensive to actually do this, is like being able to like ship somebody a unit so I could like look through their eyes essentially when with diagnosing problems. And like that's more realistic now, I would say, with like, because like shipping out like something that costs like $300 to $500 is a lot easier than something that's like $3,000 to $5,000,
right,
to be able to like diagnose it. And so like I think from like a troubleshooting perspective, I bought the pair, I might buy it, like we'll see how it goes. I want to play with them a lot before I like buy another pair, but I might buy another pair just for that reason, to be able to like ship them out with like a return label or whatever to like
that'd be
help
a cool
diagnose. Yeah. But I think I'm like I am really hoping to make like some good content with it when like setting things up to have like a hands-free experience without having like some weird rig of it like strapped to my forehead or whatever, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to it. I am constantly surprised by the quality of the video on it. Like it is for being in glasses. It's wild how good it is.
Dude, the sound quality is amazing. Like I was very impressed by the sound quality. And the sound quality while being open ear, like playing music, but you can still kind of like hear the conversation that's going on, and that you're getting that it's glasses, and you get like 4 or 5 hours of continuous audio and like an hour of video from those things. Insane.
Yeah.
So I'm super duper stoked. I'm super stoked. But like, yeah, I think I think there's potential to change the game, considering that they are like they're still pretty expensive realistically. But compared to what else is out there, they're very affordable. It's relatively affordable. That could like make this type of tech like more accessible and like really help like grow the community in an interesting way of like, because I guess Meta partners with this nonprofit called Be My Eyes. And so somebody with the glasses can like call the service and be like, what am I looking at? I need to buy milk, and I can see that it's milk, but I can't read it. And then that they basically like tap in and can like, oh, this is what it is. 'Cause you can do it with like a WhatsApp call.
No way.
Yeah. So like with somebody, like I don't even need to have them, but if somebody has them already, you could be like, you can do a WhatsApp call where they're showing you what they're looking at.
Right.
You know? And so I think like this, where before it's like you're kind of FaceTiming, you're trying to FaceTime, like hold the phone and do whatever. I think it has like massive potential to like really do some like cool troubleshooting diagnosis. Yeah. Where it's like, just put the glasses on and call me, and then we'll like literally I will tell you what to do. Like you will be my eyes and I will tell your hands what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. There's so many of those technologies that I feel like are right on the edge of being so incredibly helpful for manufacturing. Because the other thing I think I talked about it in here when we moved into the shop, but there's an app you can download on the Quest 3 called Caddy, where you can import, I think it's still only OBJ files, which kind of sucks, but you can export those from Fusion. But you can do full model interrogations. Like you can blow up assembly, look at every single piece, move it around in space, and you can include other people in your sandbox. So you could like literally be doing a model review with other people in VR or AR. Like, well, that's the coolest part is that it's an AR. So I could see, like, the second I saw it, I was like, oh, how cool would it be that you're like, oh, I'm setting up this job, and you send the job to your, whatever future AR glasses are that are not heavy on your head. And you walk up to the Hermla, and it's like, it shows you the building blocks. It's like, okay, you need this riser, and it like shows you the riser, and you need this vise, and you need this piece of stock, and like you just line up the Legos, and you're like, cool, all right, I got, and you can blow up the model and be like, oh yeah, I got the right jaws, I got the right bolts, cool, let's send it,
I mean, dude, like another is like thinking about buying like an HS Flex or a machine is just being able to like look at that machine in your shop, and like plop it down and be able to like walk around and do like the thing that Jim Belosic talks about a lot is the McDonald's model, where you chalk it out is like now you're chalking it out with like 3D objects in AR, and it's like you can really start to like simulate it a little bit more and like feel like, oh, this is a pinch point, like, oh, that's not going to work. This isn't going to work. So, and it's kind of interesting because that was like a huge aspect of IMTS 2016 was that stuff. And it was just way too soon, like way too soon. It was very cool, but it's interesting to see it like coming back like 10 years later,
Right. Yeah, it's too bad that Microsoft killed their HoloLens program because I think that they just came out with it, like you said, a decade too soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, it sucks. Like sometimes, it's the Back to the Future. The Back to the Future stuff is like your kids are gonna love it,
right?
Thing,
Yeah. All right. Justin's other question was something I think he's talked to both of us about independently, but wanted us to talk about it here. He says he may be tooling up a new 5-axis machine. ER16 seems like a given, 4 and 6 inch projections. What about next size up? If I only want to go with one size, ER25 or ER32. I already have a decent amount of ER32 collets, so I'm somewhat partial in that direction, though I could easily buy more collets. ER25 would tend to have better clearance. Fight it out.
Yeah. So I didn't know that he already had ER32. I didn't even think about that because I was just like, buy ER20. I like ER25 better than ER32 because of the clearance aspect. But I mean, for what he's doing, like this is probably going to be not as cool as he was thinking it was going to be. But it's like, if he has the ER32, then just buy more ER32. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. I told him to use 32. We've always done 16 and 32 because 20s always seemed like not
20 is too close. Yeah, I like 25. Like 25, but
25 is also super close to 32, and it's like so like what 16 is 1 to 10 millimeter range of collets. 25 is 1 to 16, and then 32 is 2 to 20.
Yeah.
So it's a true doubling of the 16. I mean, realistically, he has a powRgrip press. If you're really needing clearance, you're going to want some PG10s on him.
Yeah, true. True.
I really don't think you're going to be using 32s or 25s and considering clearance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, when the whole being partial to 32, it's like, yeah, just fuck it, buy the 32s, whatever. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Anything you need clearance, you're going to either use your 16s or you're going to use PG, I think. So,
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Justin. That wasn't quite the fight.
It wasn't a fight.
For.
Yeah.
Consensus immediately.
Yeah.
All right. This was not a machining question, but one I thought I liked. Lone Wolf Precision asked, all other considerations aside, where would you love to live? Can be US or another country.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I like the house that I'm in right now. I like this house a lot. And I do want to live here, but I think the more that I go, I'm more partial to being like a semi-gypsy, and having like kind of a bunch of home bases and like the van. I like that. I like it. Yeah, exactly. So I think like one of the places I would add is like having a place on the West Coast, having this place on the East Coast, and then having a place in the UK would probably be like, that would be minty for me.
Okay. So for me, all other considerations aside, so let's just say money is no problem. I really love California, like not considering the politics or the, the costs there.
Yeah.
Like Irvine area, I think is just gorgeous. Or more down to the beach from there. Like,
right.
I would love that. I love, I was born in Hawaii. I would probably love to live there again. Probably some beach town somewhere, I think is kind of the through theme there. But
yeah, hell yeah.
I've always loved California when I've gone out there. It's just a million reasons not to live there as well. So
yeah, probably moving back there, maybe TBD.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Justin at PDX says, why saying no only seems to make inquiries come back harder?
I think it's something about like the confidence of it all, like,
yeah, people
I don't
love
know
what they can't have, man.
Like, it's such a fascinating thing when they're like, people love the concession, and they get like, there's always like a weird power thing in business, and I think when you're just like unwilling to play the game, they're like, wait, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm good. Like, it's fine. I don't need to do this. And they're like, but what if we do all this stuff? And like, you're like, I think it's, depending on who it is and like what the organization is, like, I think it's like a flip of the power dynamic to be like, a bit like philosophical about it, that like gets people like on their back foot, and they like try and like, they want it back. So they like want to flip it.
Well, I think it's the great filter too. Like it is the great filter of customers, where like people who will accept the no, you're like, all right, cool. And then people who actually wanted to work with you for X, Y, Z reason, they will then try to work with you. And yeah, I think that I've seen it, you've seen it, clearly Justin has seen it too. Like saying no is scary at first, but man, you start saying no to people, and all of a sudden you realize like what good customers you have and which ones you should have filtered out long ago.
Right. I think that's like one of the hardest things in businesses is getting to a point where you like, sometimes early on you just cannot filter. You just don't have the option to filter. But like when you get to the point of being able to filter, that's like very, very powerful.
Yeah, it really is. All right. Nick asked, he says, what are some red flags people should look for when they are applying for new jobs? He recently had an interview at a place that probably had over 100 machines in their facilities, but had just bought their first CAM software last year. Other things were like they were using free CAM systems to program all their machines for 10 years or so, but had a fancy rotating statue up front. So what are some red flags that you've seen applying for jobs?
If I saw one that's like, the red flags for me are if they want to make a lot of promises, but they don't want to put it in paper, and write it down. It's like, yeah, we'll do all of these things. And then you get the job offer and none of those things are in there. And it's like, why aren't these things in the offer? It's like, well, like it's just something that's a little bit like that. We don't really do it that way. And it's like, so you're going to fuck me. That's like what you're talking. You're going to fuck me.
Well, I would say jumping off of that, like not only not putting things in the job offer in writing, but also promises of future growth.
Right.
They're like, when they're like, oh yeah, we'll start you out at this, but then, in 6 months we'll bump you up if you're doing well. I've experienced that. And it screwed me over for a few months. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. I should have respected my self-worth more than to like said that was okay.
Right. I can say on our end, like anytime that I have said that to a prospective employee, I wrote it into the job offer with like a timeline and everything.
as you should as a upfront business person.
Yeah. It's like, I feel disingenuous otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say other red flags are like condition of inspection equipment that you see around, condition of the machines you see around. Like an old machine is not a red flag, but an old machine that is like covered in 10 years of grime and has clearly never been cleaned or anything like that is a giant red flag.
How many machines are being used as donor machines? You know, that's a big one. It's like when you have like a third of the fleet down and like torn apart because they're being used to keep the other machines running. That's a problem. Some of these things you won't know like from an interview, which is unfortunate, but you can find when like quotas and like in a production facility, when like quotas and things that kind of like continue to remain the same or grow, when the equipment remains the same or gets worse and your resources are going down, but your output is going up, is like, this is impossible. You're setting me up for failure. I'm trying to think of like, there are things that you could ask, because there's things sometimes to your point about what the machines look like, is just seeing like, and what he's talking about is like seeing where they're spending the money, is like huge, massive. Because it's like, you don't really like your goal, like their goal is to extract as much out of the manufacturing, without putting like anything into it.
Right.
Sorry, this sucks.
Yeah. What's wrong with you, man?
I don't know. This is actually better than it has been, which is fucked up.
I guess like I said that machine age is not a red flag, but yeah, like you said, it could be. Machines that are all 15, 20 years old, 30 years old, like if all of them are like that, you're going to have a fight on your hands trying to get anything new.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're more than likely, it's like, we're locked in. Salary is locked in. You know what I mean? The only time, like, this is like the interesting thing is like the only time that, and it's still a risk no matter what, is like the only time where that is like okay, in my opinion, is if ownership just changed, because it's like, like hopefully you're kind of like, the new guy is buying it because he wants to take it somewhere. You know what I mean? That's tough, because it could be that the guy is going to make, like, you just never know. You could still end up getting fucked, like, you just never know.
Yeah. All right. Mihao asked, can we please touch on 3D finishing strategies in Fusion? He knows it's been discussed, but it'd be cool if we elaborated on step over, depth of cut, boundaries, when you replace or patch faces and parts, tolerances in Fusion, and if you evaluate somebody else's program, what would you look for? Like you said, this has been discussed a bunch. I would say some good resources, and I know Rob occasionally listens to this and laughs when I still refer people back to this, but Rob Lockwood has on his personal YouTube channel some pretty good foundational ones for the original kernel, like the HSM kernel 3D toolpaths.
Okay.
I think his videos are actually in HSM Works, but it's the same thing. Same thing applies in Fusion. Yeah. Him and Saunders also did like I don't remember what the title of the thing was, but they both programmed the same part. It was more or less like roast my programming kind of thing. That's another good one that touches on very similar things. As far as 3D finishing strategies, this topic has gotten a lot more difficult to cover accurately because of the inclusion of the other kernels, because of the Module Works toolpaths and the Delcam stuff. They all react differently to things like tolerances and how they deal with boundaries and all of that. So it's really tough to like give you a comprehensive thing. I will say some tips that I use. I try not to patch faces. I try to create duplicate bodies and delete holes or whatever in the, I don't know if it's the modify tab or not, but in one of the tabs or in one of the drop downs in design, there's something called simplify, and that will make it very easy to bulk delete chamfers, radii, holes, things like that, and make a very good manufacturing model to base 3D features off of. As far as like red flags, people using touch and avoid surfaces before boundaries is a big red flag in most toolpaths.
Yeah.
Obviously, like things like geodesic and flow, you have to use touch. I mean, you're picking faces to cut, but as far as things like any of the original HSM Works kernel toolpaths, so parallel, scallop, radial, any of those, you touch and avoid surfaces should be a last ditch effort, not a first thing.
Yeah. Which is a tough one when you like port over from a different CAM system, which relies heavily on those things. You know. Yeah. Where you need all three, touch, or I mean, I guess two, touch, avoid, and boundaries to make sure it's not going to like just go off into space. Yeah. For the original kernel ones, like this is in Rob's video, but one that is very good is you pick a boundary, you set your tolerance to whatever is good for you. I typically go very, very tight on tolerance and then add smoothing if I need to loosen it up. But then in the containment boundary offset, you do a negative tolerance, of your toolpath tolerance. So if your toolpath tolerance is 5 microns, you do a negative 5 microns in your tool containment boundary offset. And it basically works with how it tessellates the model. So every time you're creating one of these 3D finishing things in the background, it's tessellating your model into a million triangles. Sometimes those triangles poke out of your boundaries, and that's why you get this water falling off the edges. And so if you pull it back, the tolerance value of your toolpath, you're more or less cutting off the peaks of all of those triangles that are poking out of the boundary. That is a good tip. That's a great tip. And I would say a lot of it is learning how these toolpaths calculate. So for example, like parallel is always looking down in Z at the model. So that's why when you get big changes in Z on the model, you get these paths that start getting bigger and bigger, the gap between them. Whereas toolpaths like geodesic or scallop, even I believe, slices on the surface, not on in Z level things. Like you can kind of think of a lot of these Z level toolpaths like 3D printers, where they're just slicing up the model and then adding toolpath lines on those slices. Yeah. Yep. Which can be, I mean, it will give you a 3D printer effect in essence. Yeah, exactly. And that's why they have settings that are like, machine shallow area is different or whatever. But typically, and again, this is like huge Pat, topic. Yeah. Well, and like Pat says on Impractical Machinist, like it depends. Like this is I typically, if I'm tweaking a toolpath and I'm thinking about using the machine steep or machine shallow areas and like parallel, for example, that's usually an indication that I just should switch toolpaths. Right. Yeah. Steep and shallow is really good for a lot of this stuff because you can, as long as you're not hunting for cycle time, because you can kind of just throw it at stuff and it'll get you something close, and you tighten up the tolerance and the step over, and you're like, it's good enough. Just send it, and like it'll look okay. Yeah, geodesic's kind of the same. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, it just kind of like gives you something. It might not be the prettiest, but like it'll get the job done. Yeah, 100%. And then there's just. Again, it's very hard, and they keep combining the way that kernels interact with each other. Like I think it's Blend now that has 2 different modes in it, and depending, it's like on surface or from tip of tool. Yeah.
And that drop down actually dumps you from one kernel to the next. I don't remember which one is which, but like one of them is the original HSM blend.
Yeah.
And one of them is I think Delcam blend or module. I don't remember which one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That shit works good.
If you can get it to work, it works amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. Blend is gorgeous when because it will do like fillets and stuff. Oh my goodness.
Right. Like on the knife handles, we use it on the knife handles for town color. And like, we went from like, basically like parallel. Because the parallel worked great for like the original ones that we were doing. But then like as we went and like shapes got a little more complex, like the blend was just like money in the bank. It works really, really well.
Yeah, it's a great toolpath when it works.
And I guess that's where patching kind of comes in handy with like freeform surfaces that have holes in them. I think that's where I'll use patching the most, is because you can just like hit patch and like hit that hole, and it does like a really good job of approximating what the surface would be if it didn't have the hole. Yeah.
Yeah, like patches I use them sometimes, but it just depends on the toolpath I'm trying to apply. Like flow, if you try to put a patch in a flow surface, it will see the discontinuity between the patch and the main surface.
Right.
And sometimes pick up there, or sometimes do some weird stuff at the line. Yeah. So like I'm always going to create a duplicate body and delete out the hole for a flow toolpath. But for like steep and shallow, which creates, I believe it like more or less drapes a surface of its own making over the model and then calculates off of that.
Okay.
It's much less influenced by patch surfaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody recently, and the way I said it was like, you can get to a 90% or an 85% toolpath with like very little knowledge in Fusion. And it's getting that last 15% that is like such a deep rabbit hole.
Right. It gets really nasty really quick.
Anything else 3D finishing wise?
No, I think done and dusted on that bad boy.
Cool. All right. Cash CNC says, how do you work through Fusion 360 with multiple customers? I've had a few that have added me to their team hub. The problem I have is that if I'm working with one customer and another one has a question that requires me to go into their team, or I go back to my own team, I have to close all the files that are currently open to switch. Have you found a way around this? I find myself spending my day constantly switching and opening projects.
If you can get it to work, I mean, sometimes it's okay. Like you can open up a second instance of Fusion on your computer and just be in a different team there. That'll work.
I know it gives you an error when you try to do that, but like you can just hit OK, or like a warning, I believe it gives you.
But it just works. It makes it like dog shit slow a lot of the time, but it's like, but if you don't want to switch back and forth, it's fine. Personally, like it has like, cause I do this a lot when I'm doing a lot of Fusion stuff, is it just kind of like trains me like to not have any more files than necessary open at any given time, and for the most part is unless the person who's reaching out to me with a question needs help like right fucking now, I'm going to finish what I'm doing and then switch over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know. For me, like I would I'm making their part. So I would pull their part into my own Fusion instance.
Yeah.
And that way I can switch between all my files. No problem. I can't tell if Cache is programming for people, in which case that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm making their parts, unless they're like, unless they're actively updating the model and we're going back and forth and just, quick turning prototype after prototype, I would just, download the F3Z and then throw it into like my customer folder for them and do it that way.
Yep. That is the way. Unless, to your point, you are programming for somebody, and then it's like, then they're like, do it in mine and whatever. One of the things that like I think eventually Toolpath is going to have, from at least a tool library perspective, is being able to have the tool library in the cloud completely. So like, doesn't matter what team you would be in, you'd have access to like all your tool libraries regardless of the team. I think that's a feature that's coming. That might be wrong.
I mean, if it's not, I still haven't tried it. I need to download it. Denzel Makes on Instagram. He developed, I'll have to see, make sure that he's okay with me talking about it, but he developed the advanced tool library add-in, and I need to give it a shot, because that's supposed to create like a database of all your tools as well, that you can, see use statistics and like replace stuff in files, and basically what we've all been clamoring for years. So I need to give that a shot.
He reached out to me on Instagram a week or two ago too, with like a link to download it.
Yeah,
and it's like, I do need to fucking give it a shot. It's just, I've been traveling so damn much.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm heavily underwater trying to just make parts right now, and so I just haven't had a time to sit down and do anything.
Please. Yeah.
I mean, the listeners likely won't know because I think I'm going to edit it out, but I've been every 45 minutes going and changing out parts while we've been recording. So, yeah.
This is where you'll just inject Jeopardy noises during that time.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Sam asked, first CMM purchase, what to look for and consider, thoughts on different brands.
That's a kind of like a huge question, but I would say, like, sorry, the one that seems to be like the easiest to work with kind of is the Zeiss, I mean, I don't know, like it seems like all the homies have Calypso and it just works, but it only works, like the Zeiss stuff is only for the Zeiss stuff. So you're just kind of like locked in with that. The one that I would, and we've talked about before that I'd highly recommend is the Wenzel, right?
Yeah, Wenzel. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at for ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like, so Zeiss makes pretty good software and pretty good hardware. Their CMMs are a little bit more fragile.
Yep.
Hexagon makes fantastic hardware, and I've personally watched people crash the absolute shit out of them and them be completely fine. Their software kind of sucks. PCMS is just like a real bear to get around.
Right.
But their hardware is top notch. And like I was talking to somebody this week who has a Mitutoyo, and he was talking about like dealing with having to set all these parameters for the weight of the probes on his SP25 scanning head on it. And that like, at certain distances from it, he was using like a 90 degree or like a star probe.
Okay.
That it would not calibrate because it was too much weight. And like the scanning head I had on the Hexagon that I programmed would auto weight balance every tool or every probe that it pulled out of the rack automatically. And I could stick I think an 80 or 100 mil probe out. I mean, granted, like I was tilted at 90 with a 5-axis head, but I could from 90 have an additional 100 millimeters or 150 millimeters of probe length because it was able to do that weight balance and figure all that out. I was like, well, all right, that's something that I had never even thought of, and that now I need to find out, like with the Wenzel even, like, is that something that Verisurf will do for me, or is that something I'm going to have to sit there and kind of calculate out?
Yeah. From what I saw, I mean, the guy wasn't fucking around with it that much. When I was in Delaware doing that project last year, and they had the Wenzel, it just seemed to like, unless he just had it all figured out already,
right?
But like it just worked for him, and it was pretty seamless.
Yeah. So yeah, Mitutoyo makes, I don't know, I've never used one, but like their software looked very confusing to me. Their shop floor machine is a very attractive price though.
What is it? How much is it?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say that theirs was very similar price to a Duramax, but had a 5-axis full active scanning head, whereas the Duramax is not a 5-axis head and is passive scanning.
Yeah.
So technically the Mitutoyo was more accurate, I believe. I really haven't looked into it just because their software seemed very confusing to me, or like very clunky, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Devin seems to really like his though. So I don't know. I guess I think that what people need to realize is that people hate inspection. And so there's been so little money dedicated to making these programs user friendly. Like none of them are good. Like I know Zeiss constantly says like, oh, the Calypso's so intuitive. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's not. No, it's not.
It's like more intuitive relative to the other bullshit that's available, but it's still like trash.
Yeah, exactly. Verisurf is the one that we're looking at. We're looking at a Wenzel with Verisurf because Verisurf is based on the Mastercam CAM kernel. So it's programs like a CAM software. It's the only one that we saw at IMTS this last time that seemed very easy to use.
Yeah. Everything I saw about the thing being used like IRL was made it seem like totally worth the money.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not crazy expensive. Like I think who fucking knows what your quote would be now for that same package, you know?
Right.
But I think your quote was like 120 grand or something like that in that ballpark.
Something like that. I think it was even under that. That was it wasn't their shop floor machine. It was a step above their shop floor machine. And that was full scanning with Verisurf.
Yeah. And it's the 5-axis scanning head, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't the crazy one that like swings the probe around while it's scanning. It's like, you know, it articulates to a degree and then does scanning at that angle.
Yeah.
But it's not the Revo head. The Revo head is wild.
Yeah. But it's like the PH25 or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which just that alone, like being able to to pick the angle like specifically, you can use like a much, much smaller probe and get like into spots you shouldn't be able to get into. But it's like very cool where it's like, I'm going to park 90 and then go and like, it's like, oh, that was cool.
Oh no, that's the one that I'm not getting.
Oh, really?
The one on mine was a SP25 scanning head.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Because I wanted full active scanning, not passive scanning.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot more accuracy that way. But because like those active scanning heads are more or less stress strain gauges. So like when they're touching a point, every point it touches, it actually touches and then feeds in and feeds back out. And so it calculates the full like curve. Yeah. And knows exactly where the hit actually was taken.
Yeah.
Which is wild. I mean, it's just such interesting technology. But so that's what I'm looking at as far as, I would say, first CMM purchase, find out what has really good service near you. Make sure no matter what you are looking at, find out the service costs and the SMA agreement costs. Like Hexagon and Zeiss will absolutely wreck you. You're like, oh man, I got a great deal on a Zeiss, or I got a great deal on a Hexagon, Tigo. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, it's like $8,000 a year for our service maintenance, or like software maintenance plus physical maintenance agreement. And you're like, cool. All right.
I think like Jay Pearson was talking about on the latest lean build. They bought a CMM. When they bought the CMM, they got a smoking deal on it. And then I think he said he put like the same amount of money that they purchased.
Calibration.
Yeah, like that they basically doubled the price of the machine through rigging, calibration, and like updates to make it more modern. So it's like he would have been better off just buying and that was like a 20-year-old CMM where he could have just like bought a new one or something, which is like fucking wild. That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing to consider too is shop floor versus non-shop floor. Like a Duramax or a Tigo is going to be less stringent on the both temperature, which is a big thing, but also vibrations. Like I remember when we bought the scanning CMM at my last job, they came in and they were like, you might be too close to machines. Like if we run our full calibration on this and there's too much vibration from the machines, it just fails and you're just SOL.
Wow.
It's like, oh, cool. And I was like, what happens then? They're like, well, you got to buy the vibration isolation pads then. And those are like $50,000 or whatever. And they're custom order. So then they got to come in and you're like, oh, neat. All right.
That's like a thing where it's like, why was this not discussed during the sales process? You know?
Yeah. I think they warned us during the sales process and we were just kind of like,
oh, it can't be that bad.
Like, yeah. We'll figure it out. And it ended up being totally fine. Like it was far enough away from the machines, but it was a little nerve wracking during the first qualifying run. I was like, man, I really hope that this passes. Otherwise we're kind of screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. Build another room somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. Or just like buy the feet and wait. And it's like, oh, great. This, very expensive CMM is just going to sit, I guess.
Yeah. Cool.
So find out all those things. Like you want to know the temperature swing in your room. You want to know what the temperature swing your machine can hold. The other thing I'll say too is that if you're getting an articulating head, buy more X and Y travel than you think you need, or at least calculate it out, because like we had a 710-7, so 700 by 1000 by 700 millimeter travel, and with a medium-sized probe at opposing 90s, that means that you have like a 2.5 or 3 inch cube that you can go into in the center of the table.
Yeah.
Because you have whatever the articulating head is, you have the sensor, you have the probe head, and then you have your actual probe at 90s. And so you lose a ton of travel.
Yeah.
Like there were certain parts that I programmed that I had to orient in the Y that had the 1000 millimeters. Because I would over travel in the X if I oriented them that way.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah. I think that's all I got on CMMs for now.
Cool.
You got this one.
Yeah. So these last 3 came through my Instagram. This one we'll touch on, like, I kind of want to touch on it briefly, but also kind of just want to do a full ass episode of it with Justin, because I think we've all experienced it pretty heavily in the last like year, 2 years, which is like how to deal with or mitigate burnout, which like haven't quite really figured that out, like it's tough. I mean, it fucking just wrecks our shit. A lot of the time we don't even realize we're burnt out until like we're way deep in the cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then you're just like, well, the only way like up is through or whatever, like you just got to kind of push through it, which is like what people tell you not to do. But it's like, what other option do you have when like you're in our position of being a business owner? You can't just like, I'm going to take a vacation. Like, just not possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have anything constructive to say here. I don't know how to mitigate burnout yet. The last 2 weeks have been incredibly rough and I've been feeling very burnt out. I mean, it was enough so that like in talking with Justin yesterday, you guys went out for ice cream yesterday, I think, or the day before. And then he sent me ice cream to the shop just to be like, hey buddy, I know you're having a hard day. Here you go.
Wow. He gets credit for that? My God.
Well, whichever one of you sent it to me, you've sent me burritos and caffeine, which has been heaven sent, and then he sent me very good ice cream, or you sent me, whichever one of you did it.
It was his idea. It just was my DoorDash.
All right. Yeah. Well, it didn't say on the receipt, so I didn't know.
It was a tag team. It was alley-oop.
In either way, incredibly nice. It was a very nice treat, and actually did improve my mood quite a bit.
Hell yeah!
So. Yeah, I don't have anything good or constructive right now to say about that. I think that it's unfortunately par for the course when you run your own business.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Cool. And then Kurt Wolfinger asked, good process for hiring first employee, specifically the first employee, which is like tough. And I feel like I've hired a first employee like 3 times now.
Right.
just based on, which sounds kind of wild, but it's just like based on where the business was at each time I like went from having people to just being me to having people to just being me. And the thing, I mean, it's like there is, if you think, the biggest thing I could say is like, if you think you have everything documented, you don't, right? Like document your day to day if you're hiring somebody to replace like yourself, you know, like in a technical role. And like, right, like I would say, like, go through, like, what do I actually fucking do? How do I program? Where do I go? Because there's like so much tribal knowledge that is built into your shop that you just don't even think about because it is you built it. So obviously, you know that the tap handles are in that drawer that's behind the shelf, actually, you know. And it's just little shit like that like how do you fixture things, and how do you, like, what tools do you use, and all that other bullshit. Like, this is something that we talked about today, is like for onboarding new customers, of like kind of asking them to provide us, or we start building together like a programming guide kind of thing to be able to work together better. Because like otherwise what happens, like the system that we have now is like, it's very clearly in a way, like we built it in a way that allows us to, like, we could drop somebody into it and I think they would be more successful. But like in the past, it's been pretty rough going, because it's like, what am I working on? And it's like, well, this is what you're working on, just go. And it's just like, it's like very like I wish I had what I had now, like 4 years ago, or even last year when I hired John, because I think John would have been, like, everybody would have been way more successful. Like, I would have been more successful. John would have been more successful, because we would have had everything like in this well-oiled machine that has that, like, it's like, you know what you're working on every day. There's no question of what you're working on. If you as a shop owner go into your shop and you don't know what you're working on, you're not ready for an employee. Sorry.
Right.
You know, you might need one, but like, you won't be. Yeah, you're not ready for it.
Yeah. I've always heard, I mean, obviously I haven't hired a first employee, but I've always heard that, like, first employees, you want someone not only that is a good employee or that like checks the boxes that you're looking for, but someone you can tell is willing to be flexible and learn with you.
Yep.
Like, you could find somebody that is like the perfect machinist, but if they need structure from day one, you're gonna butt heads immediately, because you're gonna be changing things nonstop the second you start figuring things out, you know?
Right. This is why, like, I would say, like, initially of my like first round of employees, like Scoob was by far like before he like went off on his own, which is like was bound to happen based on what, like, who he was. But like, we worked well together. He was very flexible. He could like kind of just like do stuff, you know, and like thought about the business from like the business. And so like you could like take tasks off of me and whatever, where it's like, it's more of a symbiotic relationship. Like, I mean, like, the thing I would probably point to in like from like recent history that is like a good like number one, number two is like the Steve Jobs, Johnny Ives type of situation, you know? Not that we were that, just like that is something to like look at, where you have an employee who like basically is like can run the show themselves. I mean, like in Scoob's case, he just fucking left and did it, you know?
Right.
But like now, like I would say I was very fortunate with Doug this go around that like I hired him before we had the systems built, but we had like a fairly, like, luckily we had changed the structure of how like the employment would, and he wasn't doing what I'm doing, which like involves a lot of travel, which can make things very nebulous, but it's just like programming. So it's like program. So we got kind of lucky in that there was always something to work on. So it wasn't a question, but like that, as we built the systems, he's been integral in like making sure that it all makes sense, you know? and he's been, it's like, so I completely agree with what you said about finding somebody who's like flexible. And it's essentially like you're like looking for like a sous chef, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody who like could run a business themselves. And ideally you're looking for somebody who could run a business themselves, but just wants the stability of having a job, which is hard. That's like really hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that, I think that's kind of that one.
Yeah, I think that hits it.
And then we got to fucking wrap this up. My throat is destroyed.
Yeah. Let's speed run the rest then.
Yeah. So like fixture storage, I mean, it kind of depends on the fixtures, you know. Like I think you have a nice little rack for the 0 point stuff.
Yeah. Like Raiden was asking about fixture storage. Yeah, like Lang makes one that Juan copied, and then I copied for Juan. That's just like a little rack that you can drop vices onto. I've seen people make vice and fixture storage out of like HDPE, HDPE, where they just like cut slots, and that's why it's very easy to slide things on and off, and they're not gonna damage it. We've got like wood shelves for our fixtures that help.
Yeah.
You basically just don't want anything that's gonna like ding your fixtures, and that you don't have to store them on top of each other either.
Yeah. Like, and at Mini RCR, we did like a library, like a bookshelf type of thing, because they were like tall and thin, and like they could, if you laid them out like flat, they just took up a shitload of space. But we just like we talked about it. They bought a rack, and then he had his buddy like make just like dividers, and we just like, so we could slide them in sideways, and they took up like no space at that point.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's wrap this up. You've been coughing like crazy, so I know your throat's wrecked. What have you been researching this week?
This week, what have I been researching this week? I always I fucking always blank every time this question gets asked. This has been like a whirlwind. I would say this has been like a whirlwind of a week. I mean, it's only Wednesday, but I think I've driven like 20 some hours or whatever. Already. I think, what the fuck? Hold on. You go.
Okay. I have been researching. Oh, dude, I don't even know. I took the feature macro class for Hypermill on Monday, which was really cool. I guess that's kind of research, or right. That is amazing. Like that's really diving into Hypermill even more. It's like basically how you can do hole recognition, pocket recognition. You could even set up custom ones, so you could do like 3D feature recognition, where you just color all the 3D features you want machined in a certain way, and it will automatically absorb all the properties from that into the toolpaths that you have set up in that macro. And then there's something even on top of it called Virtual Tool, where you can create all these rules for your macros, where it will intelligently select tools based on things like length of cut or reach, or the length to the holder or whatever. Anyway, it's like it's so deep. The UI, as usual, I'm going to complain about it. It's really, really terrible. But it's one of those things like you get it set up once, and like a quick example, you can set it up so that it knows threads, and then you can color all metric threaded holes blue, for example, and then you run your macro for threaded holes, and it just grabs all the blue holes, automatically applies the right drill and tap no matter what size of metric thread it is. So like you could have an M1 and an M10, and it'll grab the right tap drill and drill from your tool library and spot to the right diameter for your thread, drill it, and then tap it. And like that is one macro you can set up with one single tool combination, and then you unlock variables for it. And it's just like, okay, I can do the rest of that.
Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah. So that was a lot of cool stuff to see. It's going to take me freaking forever to absorb it. But
For sure.
Yeah. And then besides that, working on the coolant dosing thing, I've been kind of doing a lot of research into, or not, cursory research into like how to handle the battery, the low voltage stuff, finding all the boards, and if I want to end up making my own custom board and using like a better 20 volt to 12 volt converter than the one that came off the little shitty Amazon one I bought.
Right.
All that stuff. So
nice. Oh yeah. Right. So looking at it, I was looking at basically like with the van kind of in the state that it's in, I'm like ready to start like locking shit down, and going more for like the final build, quote unquote. So is it like, how much is it going to cost? Like, or what do I want to do like the bed frame out of? Cause it's like, do I want to do it out of wood or do I want to do it out of like 80-20? And I think I'm going to go 80-20 because it's not going to be like, it will definitely be more expensive than wood, but lighter than wood.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a huge consideration, obviously, in a vehicle.
Yeah.
And then like business wise, I would say like the thing that I ended up researching a lot this week was like with the Servants, just like diving deep into their AxiSet macros because they were fucked up on 2 of the machines and I had to fix it.
Oh, really?
Which only took like 2 hours. But yeah, I was dumping. It was dumping the when it was doing the auto update, it was dumping the like Y machine location into the wrong spot, and then I'm not also just giving the difference that it was and not the actual position. So that was like, yeah, it was very weird. So it was like very small changes in 2 programs, but just like finding it was kind of a pain in the dick.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Yeah, but it was like 2 hours of work basically. It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
But that was like my deep dive.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got it sorted. That's the AxiSet stuff is so cool, but it is a fairly deep dive anytime you go into it.
Right. Yeah. And like it depends on like, oh, it's different if it's like a table on table machine, or using like a rotary on top of a table versus an integrated table for some reason. And like it's just very bizarre.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, man. Well, let's wrap it there. Thank you so much for spending 2 hours with me after driving 10 hours today. I really appreciate it. It's great to get to catch up. Thanks to new Patreon members, James at Moultrie Made, Chris, Tim, and Colton. Y'all make this show possible. All of you Patreon members make this show possible. Thank you all for listening, and I will be back next week.